Voices from the Field. And we have Coach Honeycutt here with us. She is the head coach at Upper Iowa University. So thank you for being here, and just tell us about yourself, how you got into coaching, your experience as a player and as a coach, and just a little bit about your university.
Yeah. Well, again, Aubrey Honeycutt. I'm originally from Wahoo, Nebraska, which is about 45 minutes out of Omaha, like 30 minutes from Lincoln. So I'm kind of right in the middle of both of those. But I grew up playing the small town ball. The only thing for me is I haven't grown since then. Like I was this tall. So I always tell people, I'm like, I peaked when I was 10 for sure. Because you have the small ball, you're 35 feet. I was a pitcher and I'm like this size. I'm absolutely just destroying people. But I played that small town ball for a bit. And then kind of my family and people around the area they kind of pushed me to go and play in the big city, if you will, and kind of play against people that are gonna, not that I wasn't pushed, I needed a step higher to kind of get to where maybe I wanted to be. I was young, I was 10, 11 years old, but yeah, drove the 35, 40 minutes. I was a pitcher, so you also have those pitching lessons, all that good stuff. So I spent most of my time in Omaha at an early age, kind of going back and forth. And it was something that I don't think I become the athlete I was or even the coach I was without it. It was an absolute grind, especially as I got older, just driving that distance and missing a lot of the schools, like the school stuff, those really just interesting middle school dances I just missed out on. And I, not now that I look back, and I don't think it was a huge miss out, but at the time, you that upsets you. But I was weird in the sense that even in college, I just looking at it as I've got a lot to lose kind of thing. And I put a lot of stress on myself, truthfully. And now I kind of speak on the fact that I think we need to spend more time letting people enjoy the process. But so I played my whole select career in Omaha. I stayed at my small school for high school. So I played Class C ball in Nebraska. That's your lowest division of softball in Nebraska. But I played against the bigger school kids all the other times of the year. And so I had some good options out of high school. But one thing about me is I really had a lot of injuries. I just had my 16th surgery last year.
Wow.
I had a surgery a year starting in the 8th grade with a few in there, having 2 because knee surgeries just didn't go as planned. So that was my kind of hitch. I always I had interest. Oh, she's out for 4, 5, 6 months, things like that. So it was a grind. Recruiting is tough, man. And it takes a lot out of you. It makes you question things about yourself that you're just like, wow, maybe I need to reevaluate. But I think it depends how much you love it. And I really loved softball, and I didn't want everything I was doing to be in vain, kind of. My story is wild. Truthfully, I have a college experience, probably unlike anyone else, but I went to a 4-year out of high school, and this was before the transfer portal. So that's a whole new world at that point. And so I went there. It wasn't a great fit for me. I asked for a release and they denied it. And so I ended up having to either sit out for a whole year and lose that year of eligibility, or I could go to junior college. And so that's how I ended up going to Iowa Western and playing. Probably somewhere I should have went right off the bat, truthfully, just with all my injuries, learning how to kind of play with my body as it was. And I went there, had a lot of support. It's a very competitive program. And so I spent a year and a half there. We did well for ourselves. I went to Rogers State in Claremore, Oklahoma. I had back surgery. And so I ended up transferring out of there because I truly didn't know if I'd be able to play anymore. That was something I was going to have a hard time getting cleared. And from there, I ended up going to Morningside. It was college at the time. It's Morningside University now in Sioux City, Iowa, which was an NAIA. So I kind of played in just about every division, but Division I. But for me, when I was looking at the recruiting thing, I had D1 offers. I was just realistic. I didn't want to go somewhere and sit for 3 years. That was not what I wanted. And there's some people that are okay with that, and that is totally
Right.
okay. You choose your own experience, you write your own stories. I wanted to go somewhere where I was going to play and make an impact, where I could compete, but I wanted to make an impact. And so that's why I chose the route that I did. Now, I didn't choose to skip around every year, but it is a huge part of my story. And so I ended up going to Morningside College at the time, and It was the best year of softball. But I always give all the credit to the people that were there, my coaches and my teammates. They allowed me to rehab in the best way for me. And that's why I was able to come in, and we went to a World Series, and I was an All-American there, and it was an awesome experience. And so that's kind of my college experience really packed into one. Right. So that's why, honestly, I speak a lot on recruiting, because I feel like there was a lot of things that I missed. I don't come from money, so I was really looking for a good scholarship. But when you're blinded by money, you miss a lot of things that maybe you shouldn't have.
Right.
And I made that mistake a couple times, and I guess I didn't learn from it the first one. But again, all part of my story. If I don't go to Rogers State, if I don't have back surgery, I don't end up going to Morningside. Halfway through my Morningside, I only transferred there. I was a transfer senior. I got a call from Iowa Western. That's how I ended up coaching there. And that was the kickstart of me coaching softball. Was my time at Iowa Western, a great place to start. You get thrown in right away. It's a high level program. It's a high level school in general. And I went there. I was there for a couple of years. Then I spent a year at the University of Sioux Falls. Then I went out to Liberal, Kansas for Seward County Community College. I had a friend out there that took the job. And that was all during COVID. Didn't spend much time. Like, obviously, we didn't do a whole lot during those times. I did get the opportunity to coach under different people, and you learn a lot about what you like, maybe what you don't like, what you do differently. And I got my first head coaching jobs at Black Hills State University. It was in Spearfish, South Dakota. I was there for 2 years, and now we're here at Upper Iowa. And I'm going into my second.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your story. You know, many people focus on Division I program. A lot of people are D1 or bust. They only want to go Power 5 Division I, but Division II does offer some incredible opportunities. What are some unique benefits of playing for a Division II school for someone that's watching that may be about to enter the recruiting process and wants to be open to all divisions?
I've played in a lot of divisions, obviously, and I've played D1 kids at every single one of those divisions. I've played teams that would go out and compete with the D1 teams everyone wants to play for. Right. Don't get me wrong, there's always those low-level teams. There's always those low-level programs in every division. There's always going to be them. But there's always those really high-level teams at the same time. Mm-hmm. Like for us, we're in the GLVC, and U Indy is in our conference. Well, that team competes with D1 teams. I don't care what anybody says. That pitcher was, just fun to watch, truthfully, and she just commanded everything. And so you can play at a high level at a different division. And I think what puts Division II and even other levels apart is, you're going to look at your sizes of classes. For us, like, we have right around like 3,000, a little above enrolled. But our bread and butter here, I think, from like the business side of the school, is their online enrollment. And so only about 550 of those students are on campus. And it's usually 70 to 80% of those are athletes. Wow. And so you're going to get on campus, and you're going to be here, and you're going to be working out, getting better at your craft, your skill, going to class with a bunch of people who are doing the same thing. In my opinion, those smaller schools, if you will, are going to kind of pack more of a punch on the community and like family oriented side, where the people that surround you truly, truly care for you. I've played in big cities for not big schools, but schools in big cities. And the tough thing is that there's so much going on that they don't see you. And so I know here, I can speak on here, obviously, but here, the whole area loves the Peacocks. They love Upper Iowa, whether it's volleyball or basketball or baseball. And so they want everyone to do well. They are thrilled that people from all over are coming into their communities and experiencing their home in their area, and they want to treat those people right, and they want them to come back. And so that's something that's different. Is you can be a kind of the one in the crowd, or you can be part of the family. And I think here and at those Division IIs and NAIAs or whatever, I think you can be part of a family. Not that, again, I'm not trying to speak down on the D1s. It's just there's so much more to that. It's so much more business oriented. I can spend more time kind of taking care of our people and getting to know them. And as opposed to, the D1 side, I can't imagine, but the D1 side is very business oriented. You have to be. Otherwise, you're going to lose track, or you're going to lose too many games, and you'll be searching and whatever it is. And so we take a lot of pride in taking care of our people. We love our athletes, but I'm going to take care of my people, and I'm able to spend that time doing that at this level.
Yeah, that's it. And that's what the sport needs right now too, is that mental health aspect as well. So I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good like culture based like mindset. I think that's really cool because a lot of teams are like you're just a number on a team, and now you can actually be just your person, like be yourself. And so going off of that, like give us some insights on like some misconceptions on D1 athletics that you would like to address.
Misconceptions on D1 athletics.
Or
D2,
D2.
sorry,
Sorry,
D2.
Division 2.
I was gonna say I can find some
You're like, I don't
misconceptions
know.
on D2 athletics. Yeah. Probably that it's not competitive. And I would say that for our junior college, like our junior college programs, our NAIA programs, I played in those divisions. I mean, I've played at the D2 level. I've played D1s in the falls at some of these places, and I have faced just as competitive hitters in the NAIA spectrum, in the NJCAA spectrum, and at a D2 level. I mean, you can say that the skill level isn't there, and it may not be, you may not have that D1 kid one after one after one after one, but they're going to compete. And I think we got to stress more of like the fit. Every single division has their top teams, they have their top halves. And if you want to play at a high level, you can play at a high level at any division.
Yeah.
I would say that's my biggest one. But
I love that. Well, and I think because you mentioned you were an All-American, correct?
I was an All-American at Iowa Western and at Morningside.
Yeah. So like I think even that in itself, like you can be an All-American at any level, you know, and nobody sits there and is like, well, was it an All-American at a power? No, it's an All-American's an All-American, regardless of
the book here and see what level
correct.
Yeah, and to be quite honest, it's an honor at any level.
So I want to touch a little bit on recruiting rules. I know that the contact periods are different depending on the division, but what other rules for someone that's watching that's about to be a 2026 or even a 2027 preparing for next year, what are some differences in rules that they should know on the Division II level for them to be able to take advantage of opportunities getting recruited wise? Because I know there are some different rules.
Yeah, so obviously we're not as strict. So like right now we can talk to 26s, but the D1s haven't gotten there yet. But for us, we kind of just have like 26s. I believe it was sometime this summer, is like June like 16th or 13th or something. We could talk to the 26s. That's kind of the date I keep in mind. We cannot, I think what people really need to understand is we get a lot of emails from younger athletes. And so my thing is it breaks my heart when I get 20, 30 emails and I'm like you're very young to be sending emails and I can't answer this for like 3 years. But I think it's just important for them to know that like if you're going to send emails that early, which if you look at my Twitter, you know I'm not a huge fan of that. Just because I think these kids at that age need to enjoy softball more,
right,
and not worry about where they're going to school in 8 years or whatever. Right. We do have those dates. And I think from the D2 side, the big dates are kind of like signing periods and all of that stuff. But the contact stuff is I basically can't send you anything until I believe it's like June something of your junior year. And the D1s are later. So keep that in mind. So these kids are sending these emails and I worry that they get discouraged when they don't get responses. Well, I can't. Only thing I can do is send camp information. And so that's what we do. I also, I don't want those ages to stress over getting recruited. I've seen a lot of burnout anymore from people that are just like nose to the grindstone, gonna find somewhere to go by my sophomore year. And that's fine if that's your story. And I think we need to bring like the love back into the game a little bit and enjoy it. So it's not so stressful and we keep people enjoying it as opposed to stressing over it. But those are kind of the dates, the big dates for us. Is that like contact date. And then after that, we can like right now, we just started 26s, 25s, and 24s are coming in. So
gotcha. And you can do visits right now with 26s, or is there a date for that as well?
No, I believe 26s cannot. God, is it like the start of the year or something? I think it's like first day of school or something like that. Gotcha. I would have to check, but I know that they cannot be on campus now.
Awesome.
Kind of going back to your social media, like you have a big presence on social media, you do recruiting tips a lot. What is a way that student athletes can like effectively use social media to like enhance their recruiting process?
Putting out like they do, I think people do a great job of putting out their schedules. Film is always great.
Yes.
Kind of updates on stuff like that. Numbers are always great. If there's one thing I can give some advice on, it's definitely like I love the pitching ones when they're like, yeah, hit 68, but it's like, let me see that gun real quick. Like, I'm so proud of you.
Right.
Seriously, I love that for you. But let me see that gun.
Right.
So just little things like that. I mean, little things here and there. I think people do a great job at putting out videos, but those are the big ones for me. I really like the videos. I love seeing the schedules, especially now that I'm in Iowa. I'm not super well versed in like the Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana. I'm from Nebraska, but I coached on the other side of Iowa, closer to Nebraska.
Okay.
And then in South Dakota. So it's nice to see people putting up schedules of events that are in those areas that I just wasn't aware of. So I think those are super, super important. The videos, keeping people updated on the videos, schedules, all that stuff. And then reaching out when you're interested. But keep in mind, again, it goes back to if I get a DM from a 27, I cannot respond. So
right. Yeah. So off of that, so what advice would you give to a high school player that say they're a 26 or a 27, they're about to enter in to thinking about college? What advice would you give them going into this process?
I would say making sure you reflect and figure out what it is you want your experience to be, and that's allowed to change. I mean, that's my thing is obviously you don't want it to change a lot, but sitting back and figuring out, like, do I want to go somewhere and play right away? Like the thing we used to do it when I played at Iowa Western, something I liked that my coach did is she would call us in and we'd give a list of schools that we were interested in. Like we would put together that list, and you have to realize what it is that you want. Now, when you look at that list, what is your why? What are those schools there for? Because if it's just for size and division, then you're looking at it wrong. And then I worked for a different coach when I worked at Iowa Western, and his thing is, and I still love this to this day, and I tell people all the time when they sit in our office, is you got to figure out what your experience is of, like, do you want to go somewhere and do you want to go D1 and play? Do you want to go D1 and win? Do you want to go and win somewhere where you're going to play? Like, because you have to figure that out. Like don't get so wrapped up in the division. It'll stress you out. Go somewhere where it feels like home. I don't even offer people in my office. That's something that's probably super weird. And I tell people all the time, like, I do things a bit differently. I don't give, like, I'll have recruits in. I don't offer an office. What I ask them to do is, like, when you leave, I want you to see the red flags. Like, I want you to reflect, what do you like? What do you not like? And then if you see this being an option, not a commitment, if you see this being an option, I will give you an offer. I have an offer.
I love that.
But I want you to see it. I want you to see the program. I want you to see the academic side. Do you like those things? And if those things fit, I will shoot you the number, because I feel like we are so blinded by what we're receiving. But you have to understand there is so much more that goes into this than the dollar amount that I'm going to send you.
But thank you so much for meeting with us. I am now an Upper Iowa softball fan. I really love talking to you. We love seeing people that do it the right way and that just care about the athletes. So we just really appreciate it. And if you have any ideas or anybody that you want to send our way, please do so. And we'd love to talk with you soon again. So yeah, thank you. I would love it.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a blast.
Yes, thank you. Have a good day.
All right, you as well. Bye.
Bye.